after the last Harry Potter game I played being so disappointing, you can imagine I was happily surprised when I figured out that they changed up the formula for the Harry Potter games again. This is Harry Potter and the Order of Phoenix. Don't go away. So yes, on top of changing up the formula again, I've also made the leap from GameCube to PlayStation 3. That's right, PlayStation 3 busted out. First thing to note right away, shout out to the people who worked in this game. They were 100% dedicated to making a good Harry Potter experience. Okay, I said experience and not game. That's pretty much going to be the theme of this review. Hogwarts is 100% explorable. Everything from the grounds to the 1st to 7th floor, the Owlery, the Great Hall, the dock. I mean, legit, Hogwarts is 100% explorable. And it's not like previous games where it's semi-empty. There's a lot to do in here. Hogwarts is alive and bustling with students, as you'd expect. Now, what you'll be doing in the game circles around the Dumbledore army aspect of the books and movies quite heavily. One of the first things you'll do is you have to corral the Dumbledore army members by talking to them. 28 of them. In all of Hogwarts. One at a time. Which means you have to go to your map, go to whoever you want, 1 out of 28, select, I don't know, whoever you want, get out of the map, run all the way to that person, talk to them. There's a good 70% chance that they'll want you to go find something for them. In some cases, a ridiculous request. Take Dean Thomas, for example. He's like, yo, I'll join your club if you find the 5 talking statues for me. And unlike the rest of the quests in the game, there's no waypoint for this one. You're telling me, even as a huge Harry Potter fan, I don't know where these talking statues are. 5 of them in the entire Hogwarts scenario? I mean, that's nuts.
Oh, that's asking too much.
Even after you finish talking to all 28 members, after that, the game will just come up with random stuff to move along the plot, which is go talk to Fred and George, do something they want, which usually involves running across the entire castle, picking up an object, and putting it down in a red X.
Said to put their swamp in the middle of the courtyard to set it off. That means you need to climb down.
Wingardium Leviosa. Watch out.
Fred and George said to put their swamp in the middle of the courtyard to set it off. That means
but there is a huge amount of stuff to do on the side. Hogwarts on every floor is packed full of stuff to do. Whether it be fixing a painting so a ghost can re-roam the hall, fixing up night statues, repairing these jars, playing gobblestones, memory games, or my personal favorite, wizard chess, which is regular chess, but the animations are pretty sick. Unlike previous titles, excluding Goblet of Fire, of course, because that game's the black sheep of garbage, there is absolutely no stealth aspect in Order of the Phoenix. But there is some very, very light climbing. I wouldn't even call it platforming. It's like parkour climbing a little bit, which I see more of a flaw than a pro because it goes so slow. And not only does it go slow, but once you reach the top of wherever you're climbing, you usually have to pick an item up and put it back down where you came from. And usually, if the game is smart, it would say, oh, good job. A cutscene would ensue and you would just magically teleport to the bottom, so you don't have to go through the entire scenario again. But that doesn't happen here. You have to reclimb down the entire thing, which takes quite a bit of time. Now, what's the main part of gameplay in Harry Potter games?
Spells.
Spells. In previous games, it's been good. Okay, the first 3, good, especially in Prisoner of Azkaban, which is one of my favorite side game modes of all time to any game out there, purely based off of how good the spells work in that game. But for Order of Phoenix, I'm happy to announce that the spells are not good.
You're kidding, right?
Now, to reiterate, there's 2 sides of spells here. defensive and offensive. Defensive spells are pretty good. They're pretty okay. You use Leviosa to levitate objects about 90% of the time, even though you have 4 or 5 spells to use on the defensive side. It's usually Leviosa to pick objects up and put it down in a specific spot. Of course, it is nice to learn and utilize the 4 other spells, but you're really only using 1. On the offensive side, I have to say, anytime I was playing the game and a scenario came in where I'd be in combat, I would be disappointed because I knew I was going to be in for a rough time. I don't understand why the spell combat feels so loose but boxy at the same time. The spells really don't feel like they take any impact. Like when I legit use a spell, it's like I'm shooting out a piece of carrot or something. There's no health bar indicators such as in previous games, and you can't even really see the impact that your spell does, nor your teammates. You're pretty much just spamming the defense spell to not take damage, because otherwise you're just straight up fucked, and then spamming whatever offensive spell you want. Whereas in previous titles, there was some strategy to offense and defense. You had to have a balance. When to strike, when to not strike, when to block. In Order of the Phoenix, it's a second thought, and that's a really sad fact because the combat spells and the spells of the Harry Potter universe is a big thing. Now, I feel like this game is a lot better than what I've been talking about, and that's because at this point now, we're past the main core gameplay and we're onto the presentation side of things where this game stands out. From the first scene where you click start new game, I was impressed just with the effort put into it. Characters look and sound good, and that's because they actually modeled the in-game characters after the movie characters. Even like the small side movie characters got modeled in here to look exactly as they do. Of course, some of them, mostly Luna, look a little loony.
Something gave me a message.
My eyes!
Something is different.
But not only did they model their faces, they voice acted this game. That's right, Rupert Grint, Daniel Radcliffe, Emma Watson all voiced the main characters, and not just those 3, everybody comes into voice who they played. Huge bonus.
It's, I don't know, it's a thing for like, I think every lad to have their face on a game, and to be in it is fantastic, and it looks really lifelike.
A huge amount of work went into modeling Hogwarts and how it works, and it paid off. It's alive. Hogwarts is arguably the main character in this game. You could even say that because all you do is run from point A to point B while exploring Hogwarts.
It's amazing, there's so much detail that goes into all the games, and because they had like hundreds of computers, and it's quite like the art department in the studios for Harry Potter, and all the concept drawings and how much detail they have to go behind, like before it, to get to the actual finishing product.
Something that blows my mind in this game, for a PS3 game where there's huge amount of NPCs, you're walking around, if you're in the staircase, there's like staircases moving 7 floors worth, it could be laggy. No lag, no choppiness, no nothing. Not only that, no load times. I can't even believe I'm saying that, but there's shortcuts on this game where you take a shortcut from like the outside world to the inside. You think that's going from one level to the next. There's no loading time though, which is crazy because that's like the PS5's biggest selling point, when in reality, Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix has been popping off since whatever this game released. One of my biggest problems with the previous game, Goblet of Fire, is how they stripped the music out. Music that was in the first, second, and third game that had familiarity of coming back to the same place. Well, I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe what I was hearing playing through Order of the Phoenix, and this song pops up. It was at this moment I realized that they brought in not just old soundtracks of Hogwarts, but they brought in old soundtracks from anywhere in any previous Harry Potter title. Not only did they do that, but they also got the licensing to use soundtracks from the movies. Those also play in the game, and that I cannot overstate how much that adds to the atmosphere of playing through Hogwarts.
The music this year is even more exciting than normal because we've managed to license the Hedwig's theme from the film, which everybody associates as being the music to Harry Potter. The other really cool thing is the fact that we record the music with a real orchestra.
So for overall impact, if you're a Harry Potter fan, this is the Harry Potter game. This is, as I said in the beginning, a amazing Harry Potter experience. If you're coming in for straight up gameplay, you'll be disappointed with the lack of impact that spell combat scenarios have and how basic the quests are. If you're coming in as a Harry Potter fan thinking, oh, this is gonna be cool, I wonder if I can explore Hogwarts, you will be blown away. Now you might be wondering, because I've talked about fetch quests a lot so far, if you're running from point A to point B, Hogwarts is a confusing place. Well, shout out to whoever designed this spot, but the Marauders map makes a comeback and it plays the part of a menu, which is cool. Great creative menu. You can view your tasks and prominent areas. Select one of those things and footsteps on the ground will start walking towards your destination. So all you have to do, select your destination or the person of interest, follow the feet on the ground until you get there. Which I think this might be the biggest dark horse feature of the game, because if this wasn't part of the game, I would be hella lost. Birdie Bot's Every Flavored Beans was such a prominent thing in previous titles, I titled my Goblet of Fire review after beans. They're gone here, no more beans. And I don't really know why they didn't keep the beans, because there still is a currency here. Except they're not beans anymore, it's more like these blue orbs. How do you get these blue orbs? Well, you just do general, really small things around the map. The majority of these are really up in your face, like the previously mentioned fixing a knight or putting a portrait back up. But some things you don't even know. You can fluff the carpet for orbs. Cool. You can light torches. You could pick up a broom with Leviosa and use it to sweep up a pile of leaves. You get points for that. Even hidden things in the walls you can pull out and light. Those give you points as well. What do you spend these points on? Well, you actually don't spend them. It acts more like a tier system. Once you collect, say, 100 or so orbs, and then 200, 300, 500, and so on, you unlock something I find extremely cool. Now, I'm not saying I'm super happy we got rid of the monetization spot where you could buy spells or books or cool stuff like that, but instead, you unlock behind the scenes, which some people may be like, why would I want to see that? But for me personally, I am always so interested in how a game is made and the behind the scenes that went into it, because people very rarely actually know how much work goes into things. So to see all the behind the scenes of how they designed Hogwarts, how the voice acting came to be, the producers in the game, the passion they put into this project was such a added bonus. Every game out there should do something like this.
One of the other important things for us on this game was also to bring our characters to life and to bring them a lot closer to the film and to the actors that people
sick.
know.
This time, we really want people to feel like they're looking at the film characters.
Coming up on the last two things to mention here, I do have to mention the gameplay. I wish changes it up a bit. You really never strive away from the exact same point A to point B scenario, other than a little bit of climbing here and there. There was a point where Fred and George have a swamp box, which you activate and it swamp pops out. That was cool. It changed up the courtyards of Hogwarts, and that was something new. There was also a point where Harry Potter woke up from a nightmare, and you have to travel through Hogwarts at night. And it was kind of cool because all the hustle and bustle that was there for previous days was gone. Everyone's asleep except for Harry and Ron. So that changed up the game, but that lasted 10 minutes. So I would have liked more stuff like that. The last thing to note, the boss in this game, Voldemort, horrible. What a bad way to put a boss down. You have these occlumency, as just like in the movie and the books, you, Harry Potter, have occlumency lessons with Professor Snape to try and break the mind connection to Lord Voldemort. And it's just easy. If Snape points his wand down, you point it up. If he points it left, you point it right. You get the gist. So I was disappointed when it came to the fight against Voldemort. It's the same thing. You know, one of the most powerful wizards of all time. Dark wizards, that is. He'll kill anyone he sees. But his biggest weakness is that if he points his wand right and you point it left, he's done. But as much as I absolutely love the way that the cutscenes are in this game, and they do look good, they missed a huge mark here. And I'm not saying the cutscenes here are, garbage, but take a look at what Narnia did, for example, with their cutscenes. Combining the game cutscene with the movie cutscene is amazing. Perfect accomplishment. I kind of feel like Order of the Phoenix missed the mark where they could have done things like this. In fact, I've gone ahead and edited a couple spots for myself. Here's what the game actually did. And here's how they could have done it. Here's another scenario. Here's what the game did.
Harry! It was foolish of you to come here, Tom. The Aurors are on their way.
By which time I shall be gone, and you dead.
And here's how they could have done it.
It was foolish of you to come here, Tom. The Aurors are on their way.
By which time I shall be gone,
And you shall be dead.
I mean, they got the licensing rights for the actual actor's voice, face, the movie's score, Hogwarts itself. They completely copied from the movie. They did everything perfectly. So why not use movie scenes as cutscenes? Not only does that save them time from developing and, editing and producing an actual full-blown cutscene, but it looks really cool as well. So just not even a nitpick, but something I thought of. So with everything being said, this review actually is a lot longer than I would have thought. I guess I just had a lot to say on this one. The overall score, 8.0 out of 10. So that's it. Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix is done. Now you might be thinking, Half-Blood Prince next. Wrong. I'm not playing Half-Blood Prince or Deathly Hallows Part 1 and 2 because they're short games, and for some weird reason on eBay, they're kind of expensive. But we're not done the Harry Potter train yet. I'm still going to play. There's a couple more games out there. I've got the Quidditch World Cup for GameCube, and I'm thinking about doing the Lego Harry Potter games. I'm pretty sure I'm going to do those, but we'll see. For now, I'm your host, Zero Planet Entertainment, and I hope you enjoyed this review. Peace out. Man, 28 minutes? Hello? Is this going to beat The Witcher 3? What is up? I know what you're thinking. You're only here for the bonus Easter egg soundtrack I put in at the end of every video. But did you also know I have a donation page under Buy Me a Coffee? Donate whatever you want to my channel and I'll put half that back to an environmental charity. So that's that. Enjoy the music. Peace out.